like sports? Do you like beer? Do you love sports and beer? Then you're exactly where you need to be. This is the Huebs Views and Brews show on 1252 Sports Chicago. Cheers.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome in to another Huebs Views and Brews. I'm Fred Huebner, and doing the show allows me not to watch more White Sox baseball, which actually is probably good for the blood pressure, probably good for the heart, probably good for a lot of things. I did see the first inning and a half, and I know the White Sox are trailing Lance Lynn's first outing of the season. We'll talk a lot of White Sox. We'll talk some Cubs. We'll work in some other stuff. We also have some beer talk with my guy, Chet Brett. A little bit later on in the show, probably around 7:40, because I'm going to rail and rant, and Mike's going to join me in just a couple of minutes, talk a lot about the White Sox. We were sitting there at Nick and Ivy the other day. Sox are winning like 7-3, and as the Rangers are scoring, Mike just keeps going, yes, yes, yeah. And Linda, my girlfriend, says, how do you two guys get along? I said, well, you know what? If I cared more, that would bother me, but I know what the White Sox are, so it's not a bother. So we'll talk a lot of White Sox. We get some Cubs in here. Ozzie Guillen had a really funny thing he was talking about. We'll get into that. Also, some of the best baseball I saw all week was yesterday. It was yesterday. Yeah. Yesterday when Notre Dame knocked off the Tennessee Volunteers, the number one team in college baseball, to advance to the College World Series. 6 of the 8 teams are set for the College World Series. The other 2 will be determined today. Notre Dame's not going to have an easy run of it. They've got Texas at the College World Series in Omaha. One of these days, my buddies and I, who are all big baseball fans, they all played baseball instead of getting cut like I did. But we're going to go to Omaha, I think, for the College World Series. It sounds like a great trip, a week or 2 trip to Omaha. Do nothing but watch baseball and drink beer and stumble on back to your hotel and go back and do it the next day. And you'll get to see players that are going to be in the big leagues. And there's always a bunch of them. So it's fun. College World Series starts a little bit later on this week. But it is Huebs Views and Brews. And Solemn Oath celebrated their 10th anniversary the other day. And I have a Solemn Oath beer here. I'm showing you the bottle cap. I'll show you the label. This beer, I think it's called a Kavraka or Kavrka or something like that. It's got a picture of a girl in a white bikini and a guy with a lei around his neck. And so I don't know how to pronounce it. But it's from Solemn Oath. It was made in 2014. I checked. We're in 2022. So I've got a replacement beer if this one doesn't taste good. It is a Russian Imperial Stout. 11.5 alcohol by volume, 22 ounces, and we'll crack this thing open, see how it tastes, and if it doesn't work, I got another beer. I got a substitute beer, a relief beer, I guess you'd call it, to fill in. But let's see how this thing pours. Well, it's a stout, so it pours nice and dark, and we'll see. I got a little bit of a foam to it. Listen, stouts last a lot longer than ales do. And that's one of the many things I've learned about beer. Ales are, lagers are harder to make than some of the stouts. So let's see how this is. A Russian Imperial Stout, 8 years old, from Solemn Oath. It still holds up pretty well. A little lighter than some of the Russian Imperial Stouts that I've had before. But we'll see. We'll see if it holds up. I'm getting some funky tastes to it, so I may end up going. Let's see here. Thick, chewy, and viscous, with a complex malt profile, comprised of roasted barley, dark chocolate, molasses, and dark fruit, with a light, piney hop balance. Well, it is light, so maybe I'm getting exactly what I should be getting. If anybody out there is watching and you're a beer guy and you've had this in the past, let me know if you think it's gonna last. You think it's gonna be something for me to drink? There's 22 ounces of this at 11.5%. It just tastes light for an Russian Imperial Stout. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get to some White Sox baseball. We're watching 1252 Sports Chicago, and the brains behind 1252 Sports is our guy Fat Mike. Mike, I've even taken you out of my phone as Fat Mike. I now have you as Mike Morosky. I took you out as Fat Mike. I was getting tired of asking when I was driving. I was getting tired of saying call Fat Mike. So. Yeah, I was getting tired of doing that. I just
you gave me a very high compliment there, saying the brains behind 1252. There's no brains back here. It's all impulse, is what it is. It's all impulse.
Well, that could be. It is impulse, and because it's impulse, you had a nice announcement last Thursday on your show. But you're seeing my background now, and you're seeing your background in your office, and I'm down in my basement. But pretty soon you'll be able to see us at our office.
Yes, we did. We closed on the 1252, the Whistle Sports Bar and Grill Studios in beautiful downtown Lockport. I cannot wait to get this thing up and ready to go. We'll be ready probably like the middle of July with everything situated out, where we have some of your stuff in your office, some of my stuff in my office here, some stuff that's going to be brought in. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. We're going to be doing our shows down there, and it's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait.
Yeah, thanks to the guys from the Whistle Sports Bar and Grill. That's over at 159th.
159th. Just before Harlem. If you go to Harlem, you went too far. They're absolutely.
And that's if you're going east, you've gone too
correct.
far.
If you're going east on 159th, if you hit Harlem, you went too far.
Yeah. So great. We cannot wait for that to get started, and we'll be doing shows there. We'll be sitting and be comfortable and relaxed. Not like we're not relaxed or comfortable now.
Right.
I mean, it's 90 something outside, and there's tornado warnings everywhere. And we're sitting. You're in your office. I'm in my basement. I got like goosebumps. It's so cold in my basement. I went outside to get
that cold here. I wish it was that cold here.
I went outside to get the mail. From my glasses fogged up as soon as I walked outside. So yeah, but let's talk some White Sox baseball because.
Are you sure you want to? Are you sure you want to?
I do because
pretty bad, Fred. Are you sure you want to talk?
But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing about true fans. Okay, and I've gotten debates on this for the whole time I was on radio. If you're a true fan, you're honest about what your team is. You're not. Cub fans used to be blamed for just being, oh, that's fine. They'll be fine. Everything's good. When I was growing up, I had a guy that said the Cubs are better than the Sox. I said, they've been over 500 3 times in like 20 years. How can you even say that? Well, that's changed over, the last decade or so.
Right.
But the Cubs are having their problems right now, their struggles, but that's expected. They're in a rebuild. The White Sox are expected to be a World Series contender. Right. And I went through the standings today. I printed up the standings from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Right.
And in the standings, there are 18 teams in baseball with better records than the White Sox.
Yes.
18. 9 in each league. The White Sox are 27-31. They're already trailing Detroit with Lance Lynn making his season debut. The Cubs are 23-36. They have a .390 winning percentage. The Sox 27-31, a .466 winning percentage. The White Sox have the same record as the Miami Marlins right now.
Yes.
Okay. Miami Marlins have a lot of young talent or young players. I don't know that they're expected to do anything this year. The White Sox were expected to do things. And all we've heard in the last week, basically since your show on Thursday, all we've heard is fire Tony, fire Tony. And you've listened to me on the radio. You listen to me talk on these podcasts. And I don't think the Cubs won because of Joe Madden. I don't think the Angels lost because of Joe Madden.
Right.
I don't think the Phillies were losing because of Joe Girardi. And I know that sounds weird because the Phillies went off and rattled off like 9 straight wins. But I think you got to have your players doing something. And I looked at the White Sox, and basically I wrote down here, the White Sox can't hit or field. And that's a bad, And when you look at
combination, that's not a great combination.
And their pitching ERA is 21st in baseball.
Yes.
So I guess you could say they can't pitch either.
Right. Exactly.
So if you're a baseball team that's supposed to win or get into the World Series or contend for the World Series, you can't hit, pitch, or field. That's really bad. Now, is it Tony La Russa's fault that Leury Garcia is hitting 193? Is it his fault that Yasmani Grandal is a 185 average, a 294 on base,
Yes,
and
baby.
a 237? Yes. Yeah, Dan Benetti, he just calls him Yas all the time. Now, earlier today, I saw the headline in the Sun Times talking about Yasmani Grandal and how he wasn't going to go on the IL. Well, they put him there.
IL.
Yeah, they put him there because he said he had back spasms that were going all the way down to his knee. So Grandal's on the IL. He's hitting 185. Josh Harrison hitting 181. But worst of all is Yohan Moncada. Moncada's got an average of 132, an on base of 177, and a slug of 209. He has he has 2 homers and 6 RBIs. And are these Tony's fault? Is that all Tony's fault? No, it's not Tony's fault. It's, you know what? You have players. First of all, you have injuries, and people tell me for years, well, you can't blame injuries. You got to have enough players to make up for the. Well, yeah, you do. Except when you have Anderson, Eloy, Robert, Lance Lynn, all these guys that are down. There was one point they had 5 or 6 starters down and not playing. And it's very difficult for a team. Managers can't make talent better than it is. And that's one of the problems with the White Sox. They do not have enough talent. You got Pollock, who's starting to hit the ball. Abreu's hitting 251. He has 7 homers. He hit his 8th tonight. He's got 26 RBIs for the season. But I put some stats together because you're the Cub guy. I'm the Sox guy.
Yep.
The Cubs and Sox have the same average as a team, 242. Exact same batting average. The Cubs on base is 320. That's 8th in baseball. The White Sox is 299.
Yep.
25th in baseball. Slugging, the Cubs have Wisdom and Schwindel and Contreras. Their slug is 394. White Sox 366, 26th in baseball. The White Sox have only one team in baseball has walked fewer times than the White Sox. The White Sox strike out a lot. And home runs, which is what the White Sox are supposed to win, the Cubs have 10 more homers than the White Sox do this year.
Right.
So is that Tony's fault? No. I don't blame the hitting coaches either. A hitting coach, pitching coaches have value in baseball. I think hitting coaches, let's go try it again. Let's change this. Let's move your leg. Let's move this. Baseball players get to the big leagues because they know how to hit. When they go into slumps, they either listen to their coaches, watch video, decide what's going wrong. No one changes their stance and becomes better. They want to stay with what they've got. But with Yasmani Grandal, God, is he bad. And then injuries continued. Michael Kopech, 2/3 of an inning yesterday. And your guy, we love Johnny Cueto, okay? Johnny Cueto going to the manager and saying, listen, going to the pitching coach and saying, hey, listen, I'm supposed to go tomorrow. I'm ready. I can go. He went 5 innings yesterday.
They were also warming up Cease.
Well, there was a reason. Yeah,
they warmed up days prior.
Yeah, they warmed up Cease because Cease is going to have to go tomorrow, and because they moved him up, he's going to had to get a bullpen in. So that's why he was throwing yesterday. A lot of people were concerned about that, but there was a reason for that. But just absolutely terrible. So I don't like Tony La Russa. I didn't like Tony La Russa when he was here with the White Sox in the 80s. I don't like Tony La Russa. I didn't think he should have been hired. I wanted A.J. Hinch.
Right.
Now, Tony La Russa, they say, well, he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, right. He was a Hall of Famer with a great Cardinals team. He won with a great Oakland team.
Right.
You got to have talent. Your pitchers and hitters have to pitch and hit in order for you to win. Do you think Aaron Boone's a fucking genius? No. He's got guys. He's got Judge at the top of the order hitting home runs. He's got Stanton. He's got all these guys hitting the crap out of the ball.
He's got everybody.
And Cub fans saw the Yankees the other day.
Yep.
Managers.
It was not pretty.
Managers in my mind don't mean a whole hell of a lot when it comes to baseball. People that semi agree with me. They go, they mean something. I said, They can't.
They do mean something, Fred. They do mean something. The one thing that I was really excited about when the Sox made the push to go out and grab Tony La Russa, all right, after Rick Renteria, I thought that the Rick Renteria White Sox teams were boom or bust. Okay, I thought they were home run or nothing, and it's exactly what they showed with Eloy and with Abreu and with everybody else they had on that roster. I thought that Tony La Russa would bring back baseball. All right, and that's one thing that I absolutely love about the game. That's one thing I love about Tony La Russa is that he brings back baseball. And for a lot of the guys that are sitting here listening, for the guys who are going to sit here and listen to the download of this show,
right?
I mean, get them on, get them over, get them in.
Yeah,
baseball. I mean, baseball. Play the game the right way. Play it like you're playing chess. Play it like you're playing, poker. Get them on, get them over, get them in, score runs, do what you got to do to win a ball game. You win an inning. If you win 6 of those innings, you're winning the ball game. You know what I mean? That's exactly what it boils down to. And it hasn't been that way. It hasn't. I'm sorry. It just hasn't been that way. And now I'm starting to come to the point where it's like, man, Tony's out of his realm here. He just don't fit. I thought Tony was going to be the savior. Honestly, on an outside perspective, me being a Cub fan, I thought Tony was like, this is a great hire. I think this is exactly what the Sox need. A guy that can come in here and be like, hey, listen, this is how you win ball games. This is how you play baseball. And it just hasn't transpired to this team, to this core at all. Period.
And he does speak fluent Spanish. So it's not like he can't relate to these players, okay? He can relate to all these players. The White Sox have a lot of Hispanic players, and they built their team with Eloy Jimenez and with Luis Robert and with Jose Abreu and Yohan Moncada and all that. But when you talk about that, since Tony was here in the 80s, analytics have become a big deal. Now, Tony was behind analytics. So was Joe Madden. But what Joe Madden said the other day after getting let go, and this is why I was looking down. I'm really bringing
up a mohawk.
Yeah, well, he gets a mohawk to try to shake his team up, and he goes in the office, and they say, "Well, they won't get to see it because you're fired."
Yeah, fired.
So here's what Joe Madden had to say about advanced analytics. It's been kind of difficult overall. I'm into analytics, but not to the point where everybody wants to shove it down your throat. Real baseball people have felt somewhat impacted by all of this. You're unable to just go to the ballpark, have some fun, play baseball. It's too much controlled by front offices these days. And that's exactly the truth. And it was happening when Theo was here with Joe Madden because they had their computer, Ivy, I think the name was, and Ivy would crank out who hits better, who does this, who does that. Then Tony uses this the other day, and he gets skewered because they said, how do you walk a guy with 2 strikes? Now, the first person that brought this up was my old radio partner, Mike Murphy. Today, Mad Dog Russo brought it up on High Heat. Since it happened on Thursday, nobody has talked about this. None of the reporters. And if I'm Tony, I would have brought it up. Freddie Freeman was on first base. There was a wild pitch. He went to second. Now Turner's got a 1-2 count. You've got first base open and a lefty pitching and a lefty on deck. It makes sense. It does. It's not a bad move. Now, I understand walking a guy with 2 strikes never gets done. But Tony rattled off, hey, analytic people, here's the numbers. With 2 strikes, Trey Turner hits well. Right now, Muncy doesn't necessarily hit well against lefties, and he's struggling. And he just barely got the ball into the first row in left field and then ran around the bases swearing at everybody. But everybody said, not one person. Now, Murph brought it up to me. I didn't want to tweet it because I didn't want to steal Murph's thunder. I figured I'd save it for today. And then today, like I said, on High Heat, Chris Russo went off on it. He said, listen, with first base open and Trey Turner up, righty against lefty, he goes, not the worst move in the world. As it turned out, it didn't work. But nobody talked about that. And I can't believe, well, actually, I can believe. I know some of the reporters. But nobody asked Tony La Russa about, did you do that because would you have done that before? There's no way he was going to walk him if Freddie Freeman was still on first. But now you had first base open.
Right.
Okay. So it kind of made a little bit of sense. If Trey Turner hits a home run, who would have been the first reporter to go to the locker room and say, did you consider walking Trey Turner with first open? They probably wouldn't have asked because they didn't have the balls to ask with a 1-2 count if you'd consider walking a guy with a 1-2 count. But Tony laid out what the analytics were. And so it's not, everybody just jumps on Fire La Russa. And my thing here is it's not Tony's fault that this team is playing poorly.
No, Fred, you're 100% right. Now, going back to this entire thing, this whole, 1-2 count, 2 outs, and you're going to give the guy a free base after a pass ball. I get what you're saying. I understand it. But it's something that hasn't been done since the 1940s, man. It's literally hasn't been done since the 1940s. Okay. Now, that being said, I want to say this. If a guy has 2 strikes on him, he has a better chance of becoming an out than he does becoming a guy that's on base or a guy that hits a single or something like that. He has 2 strikes on him. That's just, it's you get 2 strikes. I mean, come on, man. It's not 2003 Barry Bonds up there.
Yep.
All right. It's this shithead. Okay. I mean, that's exactly what it boiled down to. I was in awe of the move. All right. Now all of that being said, it is not Tony La Russa's fault that this team is underperforming. I can name 5 guys on this team right now that if I was Rick Hahn, I would DFA tomorrow.
Well, yeah. I can name
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 guys on a list here, and 5 of them I would DFA tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. Now, Rick Hahn deserves some blame because Rick Hahn decided to get Yasmani Grandal. Rick Hahn decided to get Dallas Keuchel. Right. I understand 2 years ago, Keuchel had a nice season. Okay. Right. He was 6th in Cy Young that year. He also was the guy that decided to get Craig Kimbrell. Yeah. And for no apparent reason, because you had a closer. And everybody says, oh, that's fine. We'll work together. That's bull. Once you have a closer, you don't need a closer. You need a setup guy. Craig Kimbrell's not been a setup guy. And that was a bad move. There are other bad moves that Rick Hahn made. I'm a fan of Rick Hahn, but you can't overlook that he's not made a good move in a while. Plus, at the end of the last 2 seasons, basically 2 seasons, they needed a second baseman and a right fielder. They didn't get one last year. They had Madrigal. They weren't sure. Then he got hurt and all the other stuff. And they haven't had a right fielder. They thought that they'd be able to use Vaughn and Sheets because they like what Sheets did. Sheets just got sent down because he cannot hit. Okay? He can't hit for average. It was nice last year. He hit the home runs. I'm looking here. Sheets' numbers aren't much higher than the 193 that Lurie Garcia had. Sheets was hitting 204 with 4 homers and 10 RBIs. His on base was 268. See, none of these guys are drawing walks, and that's a big problem. So he never got the right fielder. As it turned out, 3 times yesterday, Adam Engel left guys on base. I love Adam Engel, but he's not a guy that's going to drive runs in for you. Right. It's just they don't have, and I hate to say the injuries is the main reason. But if you look at it, it's really not. It's the guys that are there are not performing. Right.
See, and the old adage is this too: you got to be strong up the middle to be a successful baseball team in the major leagues. You have to be strong up the middle. Your catcher, your shortstop, your second baseman, your center fielder. When you boil it down, don't even start today. Start at the very beginning. Start at opening day.
Yeah.
Look how strong the Chicago White Sox are up the middle. They are trash. Up the middle, defensively. Trash.
There are people that love Yasmani Grandal because he can frame pitches, but he cannot catch the ball.
But you got to be able to catch the ball to be able to frame a pitch, Fred.
Yeah, he can't catch the ball. Then you have Tim Anderson, he's out. He hurt himself, pulled a groin muscle, and he's out for a while.
Even when he's healthy, he's still a liability at shortstop.
He does make errors. He's got 9 of them. I think that was when he got hurt. That was the most errors in baseball.
Right, and then you got Josh Harrison, and then who?
Or Lurie Garcia.
Lurie Garcia.
Yeah. You'd be better off with Danny Mendick at second base every day.
The only person that you have that's strong up the middle is Luis Robert. That's it.
And
who could possibly be an all-around fielder. Who's an all-around fielder that strong up the middle is Luis Robert. That's
And
it.
in the entire weekend against the Rangers, he was reaching for the ball. He had a couple of hits on Sunday. Today, first pitch, he swings at a pitch. He swings at the first pitch a lot of times, and people in baseball know that. So they're not giving him good pitches. And Steve Stone went off on him today in the very first inning. He says, Luis Robert's got to learn to actually not swing at the first pitch all the time and wait for a pitch that you can hit. And he's not doing that. And it's tough because he goes out way too long. You know, another thing, Giolito and Cease are really nice pitchers. They pitch like crap against good teams.
They do.
They don't pitch well against good teams.
Yep. I've been saying this for a year.
Giolito threw a lot of pitches. It was Rangers the other day. Threw a lot of pitches against the Rangers in the first couple innings. He had men on base constantly. They left him in for the fifth, which they probably shouldn't have because he was pitching poorly. But then he got rocked. They had a 5-0 lead. It was 5-4 when he left after 5 innings. Right. Dylan Cease throws a lot of pitches. He walks a lot of guys. And when Dylan Cease starts walking people, talk about throwing pitches, you're walking guys, you're striking guys out. That's all the pitches. They count, they add up. So, you know, the biggest bright spot on the White Sox right now is Jake Berger. And which you could probably. How long
is that going to last, though?
You could probably pass for Jake Berger.
But how? Thanks.
But you can pass for Jake Berger right now.
How long is that going to last, though, Fred? I mean, come on, he's a guy.
But he's a guy, and they don't know where to play him because they have Moncada, who plays better at third than Berger does. Berger made a couple errors over the weekend. But the other thing we didn't bring up, and I mentioned it yesterday after the game ended, and that was there's a lot of dumb players in baseball, and for some reason they always end up on the White Sox. Luis Robert yesterday, with 1 out in the last inning, there's a fly ball by Berger to the warning track, and they're losing 8-6. And all of a sudden, Luis Robert decides, I'm going to go from second to third and try to get 90 feet closer. You're down by 2. Your run means nothing. He gets thrown out. That was talked about on High Heat, on MLB Central, on Pardon the Interruption. It was talked on everything today because it's a stupid play. Now, people are going to say, well, you know what? The manager's got to let these guys know. No. Players have to be smarter. Yeah. Stop blaming everything on coaches.
Know the game.
Yeah. People say, well, they got to go.
Been 6 years old. Know the game.
Exactly. When we're sitting at home.
It's like this is something new to these guys, Fred. It's not something new to these guys. It doesn't matter where you come from, Dominican, Venezuela, fucking Cuba, Canada. Yeah. It doesn't matter. You know the game.
Yeah.
You got to know the game to be a player in today's MLB. And if you don't know the game and you're going to make bonehead mistakes, then your bonehead ass should be sitting on riding pine.
And that's one of the problems with baseball nowadays is that as long as you can hit, they don't care what your baseball mentality is.
Seriously, is it even a thing though? As long as you can hit, a lot of today's hitters are betting 250 and they're considered all-stars. That's not hitting the baseball.
No, I know.
That's not hitting the baseball. And this is a whole nother wormhole that I would love to get into you with.
Sure.
Because seriously, it drives me nuts. Where a guy who barely bats his body weight is considered an all-star.
Yeah.
A guy like Joey Gallo, because he has 40 homers and 88 RBIs or 99 RBIs last year, but bats $191.
I know.
Is an all-star.
Yeah.
I mean, get out of here. Are you kidding me?
All they care about is the long ball. And way back when it was chicks dig the long ball. And now the problem is if you're not hitting homers and your average is 230, you suck. And the White Sox are not hitting homers. Their average is bad. They look listless at the plate, for the exception of a few guys. And they need the spark of Tim Anderson coming back. Yes, they need something.
Definitely, they definitely need something. But this Sox team, I'm gonna go on record right now. All right, and this is, I'm sure a lot of your guys, a lot of your Sox guys are gonna be mad at me, but I'm gonna say this right now, as it sits on June 13th, 2022, the Chicago White Sox will not make the playoffs.
No, I would agree with you.
That's where I'm at right now because it's a long haul to make up that 5.5 games where the Twins are playing out of their mind with pretty much everybody on their pitching staff, their starting pitching rotation on the DL.
Yeah,
and they're still winning baseball games. If the White Sox do not win the division, they will not be a playoff team.
No, there's no
because of
chance.
how hard that AL East is.
Right. Yeah, there's absolutely no chance.
Yankees, Toronto, Boston, and Tampa Bay all fighting and ripping for a spot at that wild card spot.
There's not one team in the of those four you just mentioned that I would give the White Sox an advantage against in a playoff series.
Right,
not
exactly.
One.
Not one.
None of those guys.
And even with the Twins, you can put all five of those teams in that mix. And the White Sox do not stand a chance against all five of those teams, period, whatsoever.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it were to happen? This is just me saying. I know you're a diehard White Sox fan, and I've been watching a ton of the White Sox.
Yes, you have more than you've ever wanted to watch.
Yes, more than I've ever wanted to watch. I've been watching a ton of them because this is what we do, Fred. We got to be in tune with what's going on here in Chicago, and there is no glimmer of doubt if they get matched up against the Yankees.
Oh my God,
they're going to get smoked.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. The Yankees will obviously get the first round bye, but if they get matched up against them, holy moly!
Yeah, well, I have to admit, the way the playoffs are going to run this year, that's confusing as all hell. So I got to figure out who gets buys, who gets buys, who plays who, and all that stuff. Right. Before we go to the Cubs for a brief little bit, Ozzie Guillen said yesterday when the game was over, or actually one of the hits during the game, he said, "Who the hell is it that came up with this exit velocity? This is the dumbest stat I've ever heard." Some guy they had, and he says, "What do you want me to do?" You know what? Come up with a stat how hard guys hit the ball. And Ozzie said,
hard guys hit the ball.
Right. Ozzie said, you know what? You know the only time that matters, and he was right. The only time that matters is when a ball goes out of the park.
Right.
No, otherwise I've seen, well, that guy, he hit that ball at 106 miles an hour, and it goes for a single to left. It doesn't matter. Now, I saw some people on Twitter say, guys that hit the ball harder have better averages. Not necessarily. There's guys that hit the ball like rockets right at people, right at the shortstop, right at the second baseman, right at the third baseman, left fielder, center fielder, whatever it is. The old adage was hit them where they ain't, which is something Major League Baseball players don't like doing because they don't want to have to try and hit the ball in a certain area. And it's weird because I love the sport. It's my favorite sport, but I hate the way it's been going over the last several years. And like you said about averages, people don't care about average. I don't care what he hits as long as he hits home runs. Well, that sucks.
When you and I were sitting up there this last weekend over at Nick and Ivy, thank you guys so much for hosting me all weekend during Canal Days. All right. When we're sitting there
hosting you, is that what you call it when you just sit and drink all day?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Do they have any of the beer dart available after you?
Yeah, there's still plenty of beer dart available. Yes.
Okay.
And Paul, our lovely sponsor over Nick and Ivy, he actually gave me a 4-pack of FatMike today.
Oh my God!
The last 4-pack of FatMike. It was stationed out in the back. He gave it to me. I was like, I love you so much. I gave
You're in heaven. Yeah.
But in all actuality, what we were talking about just now, hit them with. You said the old adage is hit them where they ain't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Texas did to the White Sox this last week in those last 2 games.
Yes, it is.
I mean, literally, it's a word for word verbatim. I watched that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
Yeah.
6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning on Saturday.
Yeah.
And you and I were sitting there with David, the bartender up there, and he's sitting there. He's like, I bet you. I was like, I bet you lunch.
Yeah.
And it was every single hit that the Texas Rangers got was a blooper over Danny Mendick, a blooper over Lurie Garcia, a blooper over Jose Abreu.
That's all it takes to win games.
Yeah. I mean, literally bleeders that absolutely kill your club.
Yeah.
I mean, balls that are 11 feet in front of your center fielder. I mean, on a shot. Yeah. It was like, how do you even defend against? You can't defend against that.
You can't. There's no way. There's no way to defend
it is exactly what happened to the White Sox on Saturday. And then on Sunday, they just shit the bed on that one.
Yeah, they had a couple extra inning losses, not good. North side, the Cubs went to New York City, which was just ugly. I do not like, and I don't ever want to see a player pitch again. It's the dumbest thing in baseball. I think Yadier Molina's done it 3 times this year. It's the dumbest thing in baseball. It's a travesty when you got a game of baseball and you're watching that. People say, well, it's entertainment. It only entertains the idiots, okay? I'm sorry if you are entertained by it. Okay.
No, yeah, I'm an idiot, yeah. It's okay.
It's not the way baseball's meant to be played.
No.
But the Cubs yesterday, despite the loss, 18-4, I guess it was.
Yeah, they got smoked.
They snapped the streak they had going. They were 0 for 48 with runners in scoring position. Now that explains why you don't win many games.
Yes.
0 for 48 with runners in scoring position. Ian Happ had a single in the 7th inning. It ended that. He was a double short of hitting for the cycle. I know you don't like Ian Happ. I'm sticking with him. I like him.
I don't like him. I've never seen Ian Happ have a productive out in his entire career.
Hitting 275 on base, 378 right now. 7 homers, 30 RBIs.
It's a fluke.
He's second in the team in RBIs with 30. So
it's a fluke.
So I mean, it's a rough weekend. Now they got the Padres coming in. That's not getting any easier.
No, it's not getting any easier. And you know,
and then Atlanta.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not going to get any easier for the Cubs.
No.
But you know what? We expected this out of the Cubs. I mean, that's the big difference, Fred, is that we expected the Cubs to stink.
Right.
All right. We expected them not to be a good team. The White Sox were written on paper to be a contender for the World Series again this year.
I know.
And like that's the huge difference. And now what are they separated by? 4 games? The Cubs have 23 wins. The White Sox have 27.
Yeah, let me see here.
Right?
I got all my stats right here. Yeah, you're right. But then you go to losses too. So you got 4 more wins, and Cubs have 5 more losses. So yeah, it's 4.5. I think
it's literally separated by 4 wins, 5 wins.
Yeah.
You know, the White Sox should be a lot better of a team than what they are. We knew that. Me as a Cub fan, I knew that they were going to stink. I knew it was going to be a struggle for them to win 70 games this year, 75 games this year.
Yeah,
I knew what I expected. I wanted to see the progression of guys like, finally, hopefully, if he can stay healthy, Nico Horner.
Yeah.
Guys like Nick Madrigal, if he can stay healthy.
When he can ever get healthy. Yeah.
When he can ever get healthy. I wanted to see progression out of guys like, okay, what is Patrick Wisdom? Can he be a guy that can hit 250 with 30 homers?
Yeah, and we didn't know who Christopher Morel was.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Keegan Thompson? What is Caleb Killian? What are these guys? You know, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see these guys. Okay, this is the year to bring these guys up and let them shine. If they stink, they stink. But at least give them a chance.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what you have until you go out and showcase it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, I mean, look at what the Sox did with Chris Sale. They had no idea what they had with him until they put him in the bullpen. They put him in the bullpen, then he's lights out there. You throw him in a starting rotation, then he's lights out there, and then he becomes a known name throughout baseball as, hey, this is Chris Sale. He's on the mound now.
Yeah, you know what, though? That was a nice deal for the White Sox when they made it. But the reason the Red Sox were able to make the deal is because they had Rafael Devers in the background.
Yes.
Rafael Devers was the guy that was waiting to be there.
It was not Yohan Moncada.
No.
It was Rafael Devers 100% of the way.
Yeah, there's no doubt. They knew who they were going to be getting.
And I don't mean to sidetrack back on the White Sox. And I'm not trying to dump all over the White Sox by any stretch. But they got fleeced on that deal.
No, they didn't. Chris Sale's been hurt Chris Sale sucks. Chris Sale's been hurt for 2 years.
What about Yohan Moncada? He's been hurt just as much.
Yeah, but they got Michael Kopech in the deal.
Yeah,
and Kopech slowly but surely.
2020. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Slowly but surely, he's a guy that they hopefully will.
And, the one thing that I posted this week, and I wanted to revert back to the White Sox, Fred, and I don't mean to sidetrack or derail your show.
That's right. Okay. Our guest has not got the link, so I'm trying to send it to him as we go along.
Oh, boy. Okay, so I made a post earlier this week. Whose fault is it for the recent Sox struggle? Since last year at the deadline, the Sox are an under 500 baseball team.
Yep.
All right, since the All-Star break of last year, they're an under 500 baseball team. Is it Tony La Russa? Is it Rick Hahn? Or is it Kenny Williams? And that's a question that I've been wanting to ask you all week.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I'm glad that we waited until now for me to ask you that.
Unfortunately, I don't think Kenny has anything to do with that. I think it's unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I think it's Rick Hahn The guys he went out and got are not performing. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And because of that, the White Sox are in the spot they're at. Plus, they can't stay healthy. And that's not on the White Sox. That's not on the brain trust. Again, I use that term loosely. It's not on the brain trust of the White Sox to keep guys healthy. But they've got to be able to figure it out. And, I think Rick Hahn's guys just have not done the job they need to do. Let's take a break. We got sponsors to hit. As we hit those, we'll try to make sure that our guy Chet gets the link and he can join us because we got some beer stuff to talk about, and his Yankees are doing real well.
Oh, the Yankees are unbelievable. Fred, I want to say thank you for having me on tonight, man. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, you jump on anytime. Anytime you're there, and you do all the shows for me. So I'm more than happy to have you jump on in.
So we'll get Chet on here in a second. Thank you so much.
Let's hear from our sponsors, and we'll get back and talk some beer in just a little bit.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the FatMike Chicago Sports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
Fozzy Football, are you ready, brother? Real football action on a glossy game surface played shuffle style. Slide a shuffle puck at pass or run targets, and a free mobile app keeps track of every game detail. Easy to learn, but this game of skill is difficult to master. Take care of the ball or turnovers will kill your drive. The game is guaranteed to get your competitive fire burning, and it's perfectly sized to take anywhere. The park, a barbecue, your next tailgate, or fun at home on game nights. Fozzy Football is simply the best, most realistic and competitive game of football available anywhere. Add defense when your skill improves and take the game to the next level. The perfect mix of fast action and real football drama, where a last-second Hail Mary can break hearts or make champions.
Welcome back in, and I got to tell you before we go to talk some beer talk, but after going 0-5 in the first 5 games of the season, I have won the last 2 games. 2 Saturdays ago, I went over to Nick and Ivy, where we play. There's a 8-person league, and I knocked off 2 opponents, and I won 2 straight games. So I'm on a 2-game winning streak in Fozzy Football. Problem is, I'm still 2-5, and the nice thing is, I think we have 16 weeks in the season. So I got plenty of time to come back on. And Fozzy Football is a ton of fun for the people that are playing it. My girlfriend Linda watched the first time, or one of the times we were playing. And next thing you know, I looked, and where she was sleeping in the window at Nick and Ivy. There's a nice couch looking out onto State Street, and there she was sleeping, because she said, it's probably more exciting for you guys playing. It is. It's a lot of fun. We have a great time. I won a game 68-67. Scores get pretty high. It's a 15-minute game, and I scored as the guy that I was playing turned the ball over. I marched downfield, and I had a 12-yard gain from the 11-yard line on the final play of the game. I won 68-67. And, yeah, I was very, very happy with myself. That was my first win, and I got tired of being winless. And so now I'm 2-5, and we cannot wait for more. This beer is not bad. Again, I'm not the expert. I'm not a beer taster, not a professional beer taster. So this beer from Salamot, this Russian Imperial Stout, really good. And you'll know by the end of the show that it'll be really good. I've got 22 ounces of it at 11.5% alcohol by volume. Now, the beer, my backup beer, which will be drunk in the next couple weeks, is a Bourbon County Stout that they came up with this past year. It's a 2021 stout aged in bourbon barrels with brown sugar, citrus, coriander, spices, and natural vanilla flavor. But it's called the Bourbon County brand Classic Cola Stout. It's going to have to go back in the fridge and wait for another show. And we'll try that then. Okay, the guy we're bringing on, we've had him on before. He is a guy that introduced me to almost everybody I know in the beer industry. And you can never miss him. He's a tall, large man and a great friend, someone I made friends with years ago. There he is, Chet Brett, drinking his out of his Drink Illinois glass. What's up, Chet?
Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Fred. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, I never had a chance to get one of those Drink Illinois glasses. I guess I don't hit the breweries nearly enough right now.
Just go over to John Bitterman's and clip one out of his out of his complex. Hey, I don't know who to apologize. All the friends I've introduced you to, or you to all the friends that I introduced you the other way around. So, but it's been great. Well, and it gets back to one of the things that I talk about a lot with the beer community. You know, we've done a really great job in Chicagoland and across the country in the last 10 years, especially since, you know, I've been out here in Chicago in terms of building awareness, especially in the craft beer industry. But with somebody like you who's bringing the fans from outside of the craft beer industry, some of your sports fans who might necessarily, not be first run people going down to get the latest, what you call it, fear of missing out group. You know, these are people with a beer like this, for example, Freddie. It's from our friends at Imperial Oak. We'll get into some of the particulars.
Sure.
I think I have the fundamentals of doing this by this point.
Check your head.
Yeah. So it's a great, easy drinking lager. It's not a bitter IPA. And so anybody who watches your show, who listens to you for all your great takes on baseball and sports, this is a beer. A lot of breweries are going to have an easy tasting beer. And some of them are a little bit more off palate or different styles that you might not even just lager. Some people like sour beers, and you didn't know beer can be sour. And so there's a whole variety. So that's one of the things I want to thank you and all the people outside of the hardcore craft community help us tell the story.
Well, and it's funny too because I told the story several times, especially when I had Thomas on from Goldfinger, and I had told him the story 2 weeks after Goldfinger opened up. I looked and I'm 65. I just turned 65 in May, but this was a year and a half ago. And there were 5 guys at a table that were at least 5 to 6 years older than me. And I told Tom, and I said, listen, you're going to be fine. He goes, what do you mean? I go, if you can get 70-year-olds to drink your lager, I go, we're going to come anyway. I says, we're going to come anyway for your stuff. I said, but if you can get the people that are not familiar with craft beers and they don't like IPAs, but they get a chance to go to a brewery that makes lagers and pilsners and things like that, I go, you're going to be fine. And as we've seen, Goldfinger has been tremendous so far.
Yeah, we want to get people into the community of craft beer, and it could be any version of it, Some of our friends let dogs be on the patio, So, there's every once in a while there's a social media trend on the positives of having children in breweries. I'm from this camp that says, listen, in the right environment, children to a certain age, to a certain period of time in the day, it's a great energy. I mean, that's a lot of the people who are talk about new spots. Our friends over at Hop District, they got that whole front room that's become a de facto place for kids playing games and eating pizzas or whatever they're doing, while the patio is thriving. And so if it finds the right combination, it's great. It's a great sense of family when you get everybody together, and it's just a great environment. Yeah,
we had Jim from Hop District out last week, and like you said, the name is in the in the name of the brewery, Hop District Community Brewing. And it's a great place. I was there the weekend that they opened, and wonderful beer. They're making stuff slowly but surely. They're going to fill up all their stuff. They had some guest taps, which was nice. But you're a guy that you bounced around a little bit, and you were at Church Street.
So yeah, we've gone through. If other people have caught this before, we've gone through a lot of this before. But basically, 10 years ago, I didn't know anybody in the beer industry in Chicagoland. I came out here. I threw myself in with the great folks over at Church Street. Had a great run with them, and then I hit a couple other breweries, and I did some stuff with the guild. I was on the board, and then did some lobbying and out in DC and downstate. But one of the best parts of it, besides the sense of community you get, is to see what other people's communities are dealing with.
Sure.
And there's a couple of groups that I work with that are just very humbling. Operation North Pole, and I don't know if people know anything about that, but that's a really awesome organization, and it deals with children who have pretty bad cases of cancer, and they give them opportunities, a Christmas environment kind of thing for certain periods of time. So that's something that I was privileged to be kind of exposed to. And then there's another one called Blessings in a Backpack, something you would never understand until you really get the particulars. And some communities around the country in the financially depressed areas, some of the children's only meal they're going to get during the course of the day is breakfast and lunch at school, which is really a tough environment. So they'll get a backpack full of groceries to take home for the weekend so they don't spend the whole weekend hungry. So I realized that there's a bigger picture. I've gotten to a certain point in my life where I've had a lot of fun. And so I'm trying to combine all those elements, try to have a video element to it. You were there for the release at Open Outcry, and you saw what they're doing there, and the people that we work with down there was the Wide Me, and they're doing breast cancer research, and they have that 64 team, thousands of gals come out. You have to be 25. It's just a great group of people, but they're doing real work. I think 27 years they've been out doing it. And John and the people at Open Outcry and Eric and Lindsay, they've just been part of that community. And what that community needed is a place to bring people together. So I get to do that myself. I'm just trying to share all that love I get all the time. And now we've turned our brew day. So basically, again, once a month, we're going to go, approximately, we're going to go to a different brewery in a different town and brew a different style of beer. The brewery picks the style of beer, and they pick the charity, something that's important to them. It could be veterans issues or dogs or breast cancer or any kind of stuff. And we want to help tell that story in the brewery environment and have an event to release it. So this Saturday, we're going to be down at Imperial Oak and in Willow Springs. And if anybody has their bike, now would be the time to tune it up, because it's about some really awesome mountain bike trails, but it also has got some real flat, easy biking bike trails. So that's what we got going on this Saturday. And this Saturday, we're benefiting the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. Peggy and her son Brett are leading that effort. It's a small little organization, but a friend of ours, Brent, we won't even get into all his story at this point, but a good friend of ours, if anybody followed that story, had that beer Thanks Cody at Noon Whistle that released.
It's awesome beer.
So it's an awesome
beer too. Yeah.
He's a great guy, very emblematic of what this industry is all about. And so he was lamenting that there's not a lot of great resources for, men dealing with breast cancer. So I reached out to them and said, what can we do? And so we brewed this beer. And again, the brew day is an awesome thing, because it's sort of like sometimes when you drive by the highway workers and you see one guy working, a lot of guys standing around. That's a little bit about these collaboration brew days, but we got to roll up our sleeves a little, especially Brent got to help out a little bit. And we're going to help tell that story on this Sunday. It's going to be an all-day event. It's not really no time set. I'll hopefully be there from most of the afternoon to the early evening. And people want to know more about it. I'm starting this thing called Brewing Kindness, and I've been real fortunate. I got the beer friendships, and I got some of the other stuff. But I'm building an organization, and people always want to say, "Oh, how can I help?" Well, reach out to me if you know something about the internet and building websites, and we're a brewery. Your brewery. After a couple of these things, I've had other friends that heard about doing it. Now that I'm actually rolled it out and starting to do it, they've reached out to me directly. So I want to help tell the story. I want to help tell the story for the brewery, but more importantly, I want to tell a story about what the community is interested in, especially with the philanthropic things and the charities and the nonprofits. So that's my that's my story. So.
Well, and we had a great time when Noon Whistle out in Lombard had the day for Brent, and it was wonderful. And he was walking around. They had the charity, and I had not been out at Noon Whistle in a while. I didn't even know that all space they have and the food they have served and everything else like that. And it was awesome. We had a great time. I sat with Chris from Imperial Oak over in Brookfield. I sat with him and his kids. We were having a great time. They were ordering some awesome food. It was a wonderful place, a great time to raise some money for male breast cancer, which, like you said, rarely do people even know about that. And, I know that my right's bigger than my left, but I've checked and I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah. But yeah, it's a terrible thing. And Brent's doing well. I went. You can always run out and run into Brent on Wednesdays out in Naperville at the Noon Whistle. Great guy. He knows his crap, man. It's unbelievable. I was there. They have so many lines of beer at Noon Whistle out in Naperville. It's crazy. And
Brent, he's a guy that one of my first friends in the beer industry 10 years ago. He was a beer buyer for our buddy Jerry's restaurant group, Ellen's and Warren's and Brooks and Laverne's, the 4 spots that Jerry's got. And he was also a buyer at Malloy's Liquor. And he really loved the industry, loved the craft, and he's got a lovely wife, a couple of wonderful children and whatnot. He's got a great family going on. He's got involved with friends over in Noon Whistle, obviously at the original location over in Lombard. But then he's now spending some time over at the location, I guess, in Naperville. So cheers to him and cheers to all of our friends out there that are, dealing with stuff. And we try to make the world better, one brew at a time,
Sure. I mean, this is a weird story to tell, but I saw you on October 11th of 2019. My wife passed away on October 10th. And on the 11th, I had to make the plans for the funeral and all the other stuff. And on the way home, because I made plans at a place called Russo's on Roosevelt Road, and I drove down Roosevelt and stopped at Noon Whistle. And next thing I know, I'm sitting there having a beer because I needed one at that point. And there you are. And you and I sat there and chatted and talked and hoisted one to Pat. That was wonderful. And go ahead.
And Pat was one of those awesome spouses. And I don't say wives because sometimes the wife is a bigger beer fan than the husband. So, but she's one of those spouses that just realized that it was something that was important to you. Yeah. And that she wasn't going to jump full in. And some spouses have become bigger fans than the original person. But the reality is that she understood that this is an important thing for you. And that when we have friends go through these challenges, you want to figure out what you can do. And sometimes it's just hoisting a beer and respecting and celebrating the life of the person,
Yeah, and it was that day because I was just planning on going in and having a beer by myself, and there you were, and that was awesome. We had a great time, and I've told the story to other people going to the Polar Beer Fest at the top of Rock Bottom downtown.
Oh, and Ray's keeping that tradition. Rock Bottom is was a little challenged by the pandemic and all the realities of that, but Ray's back brewing. They're killing it, and anybody's looking for a great place in River North, go by and see Ray.
Well, and the other thing is, too, when I came out to see you and John at Open Outcry for the Why Me and for the beer that you guys released and stuff like that, first of all, the beer was amazing. And people that may not get out there, people in the western suburbs or somewhere else, they hear Open Outcry, it's 110th and, and Western, and it's like, okay, it's going to take a while. Yeah, it's going to take a while for me to get there. It took me a while. I came, but you know what? When I got out there, the pizza was awesome until you started pulling the pepperoni off it.
Oh, come on.
The hell?
Come on. Pepperoni. I would have flown against the wall, for Christ's sakes. Yeah, but it was delicious despite the pepperoni. We were able to get around that.
Yeah, and their food is great. It's a wonderful place right there in Beverly, and awesome. I wanted to bring something up, and I wanted to do it right at the start, but we got right into the beer stuff. You're a guy that you've been able to witness and see your high school win a high school basketball championship this year. Glenbard West, awesome. Absolutely awesome. It was so much fun watching them win. But you're a Yankee fan. Yes. So you just got to be enjoying the hell out of baseball whenever you watch it.
Well, you know what, Fred? I'm a big Yankee fan, but it's been tougher being out here to be as ardent. The last Cub game I went to, I saw Derek Jeter's last baseball game at Wrigley Field. So that's my last connection with the Yankees.
Sure.
in live. But I've been trying to embrace the White Sox in the last couple of years. Obviously, my friendship with you and some of our friends on the South Side. And it was never a cover White Sox guy. But, I thought it was going to be an exciting year. And then they had that, that 3 game that were losing. They had the 3-game win streak. And then they had that play. They were down 2 in the extra innings. They came back to tie it after the 2 guys collided with each other. And then they ended up losing it in the next inning anyway. Whatever happened to the 2 guys collided? Were they fine or no?
Yeah, they were fine. The one guy, I'm sure he'll be okay. He plays for the Rangers. He'll be fine. He'll be good. But yeah, I mean, you're a guy that comes from. It was weird. You came from the East Coast, but you went to high school in Glen Ellen.
Yeah. So my dad moved me, my 5 siblings, and my grandfather from Long Island, New York, back to Glen Ellen. Lived here for 6 years. Went to grammar school and high school, and then right before senior year, I went back to New York, back to Long Island, back to the same hometown. Went to senior year back there, but I sent my credits from senior year from the old high school back in Long Island to Glenbard West. So that's why I'm a proud Hilltopper. We're going to have a great football team again. And we won, Fred. We run rugby, and we won the volleyball championship again. And
there you go.
That's the 4th state championship in volleyball in the last 8 years. So it's a pretty good run. So they're doing a great job. It's a great community. We're actually going to do our second Brewing Kindness. The first one we did was unofficial 3 years ago. We did it for my reunion then. We're going to do it for homecoming this year. It's Glenbard's centennial. So our friends at Two Hound Red, Steve and Sundee and John With and the crew, we're going to welcome us again. We're going to have another brew day because it's Glenbard West Centennial. We're going to use Centennial hops. And I want to use this opportunity, too, to thank our friend from BS&G and Task Insurance and Hopsteiner. And you talk about the flavors, Fred, about the beer we had over at Epic. It's been a big pleasure of mine to be able to share this whole thing with my friends in the ancillary businesses. People are day in and day out selling and doing what shucking and jiving to tell the story for their own businesses. But when I can bring them into a universe that I share in a more laid back setting, we had the brew day at Urban Imperial Oak, and then, and then we had Paul there, and he's able to talk hops to other brewers, and people can see what the industry is all about and get a sense of community. And it's been a pretty awesome opportunity. So
I'm glad you mentioned Two Hound Red, because a lot of people that know beer and they know Glen Ellen, they know the beer cellar. Dave Hawley and his stuff just right there at the beer cellar. I know I've gone there a couple of times around the holidays, grabbing beer and stuff like that. But a block and a half north of there, and you and I have been there. I mean, I've been there with you, but Two Hound Red is right there, and it's a great little brewery there.
It's awesome. Steve's done a great job. The reality is, during the pandemic and keeping a steady flow of beer, it was a little bit more challenging than some of the other ones. But Steve's been on board for over a year now. He's making his beers as good as ever. He's great legacy out of 2 brothers and also working with Brando down at Workforce. So he's getting everything up and running. The beers are as good as ever. He makes some good lagers too. He's got some tasty. He makes a brown ale. He's got some great beers. So that one, I think, because it's the Centennial, I think Paul from Hopsteiner's got a Centennial hop for us that we'll be able to use. And
cool.
So that'll be kind of fun. We hope to get you down to the lake to watch a Glenbard game this some Saturday afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now that I have no affiliation with Hinsdale Central, maybe I'll wear what I can wear maybe when they play down there, I'll wear a shirt or something like that and get stuff thrown at me. But it's a great place playing football right there with the lake and everything like that. And you're in a house somewhere with a bunch of guys just having an enjoyable afternoon.
It's a very good environment, and obviously having my roots go back to the early 70s when we moved out here. So and that's the thing. Dave Hawley's and the crew, Ben and the crew over at Beer Cellar have been doing a great job. Yeah. And then the bars in town, Main Street, Noble House, and Maze and Mash are doing a great job bringing craft through the village also. So sure. And the Village Links, they did a great job remodeling that years ago, and they really stepped up their game with the craft. Our buddy Eric Rip is the beer guy again, so he's been there a long time. So
anyone that wants to come on out, Imperial Oak in Willow Springs this Saturday. Bring your bike if you're interested, but otherwise just come on out for the beer.
Come out, but you can bring your own food if you want. They got awesome picnic tables set up outside. This heat might be a little oppressive for the first few days of this middle of the week, but hopefully it'll be a break by the weekend. It should be a great
Saturdays.
day.
The high on Saturday is supposed to be in the upper 70s. You'll be great. Perfect. It should be perfect. Yeah.
Weather, drink outside. And then, if you can't make it, support your local. I always say try to support your local breweries. They're usually doing something on the weekends or something on a Thursday night, and they got organizations that they're trying to bring awareness to. Because a lot of people really, I've been fortunate the last 10 years of people, reaching out and saying, thinking it's being the greatest job in the world to be able to work in the beer industry, and it really has been. But they want to get into it. And actually get back to John Brand, long before he built out Open Outcry, he reached out to me. I saw him at an event, and what's going on? And I said, okay, we could try to figure out how to work into the rotation, help volunteer and clean the kegs and pouring at events, and then been there on brew days. And then, he bought the building, and it had a neighborhood saloon in it. He started putting some craft beer there, knowing full well he was going to gut the building to start. I don't want to say purposely alienate his clientele, but just to make it a little simpler when you have to close down and bring in this craft stuff. So that's what I got to say.
That's great. I'm
going to hopefully share this on some of the social media sites, but I think the Chicagoland area microbrew crew, whatever, one of the bigger groups, they're always looking to get groups of people together on specific events. So this might be an unofficial one where we get some of our friends. And if you see me and we've said hello, say hello again. And if not, introduce yourself. And I'm the tall guy.
Oh, yeah. They can't miss you. Nobody can miss you. Chet, I appreciate it as always. I'll run into you soon. Maybe Saturday. I know I got 1 or 2 more stops on Saturday, but I'll try to get out there. Thanks a lot,
Chet. Cheers to everybody. I should have the lingo for the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. They have check the breast or whatever. We'll have that link or that thing because that's part of it. I hope in years future that have that this Saturday, the Saturday before Father's Day, is a men's health awareness thing, not just breast cancer. Just us guys can be a little stubborn when it comes down to
you think
some of our health challenges.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Chet.
Thanks for your time.
Talk to you soon.
Cheers, everybody.
Chet Brett, awesome guy. Again, he's introduced me to so many people in the beer industry and so many wonderful people. And most of them you've seen on the shows or heard on the shows, however you watch the shows here on Huebs Views and Brews. I got a couple of beer things. I got a What's Up Fred's can. If Mike's still around, we got a couple of sponsors we still want to hit. And I'm almost done with the 22 ounces. So apparently it was pretty good. Let's do that, and we'll come back, a couple of beer notes and What's Up Fred's can before we get out of here on Huebs Views and Brews. Megaplex Sports Complex is a 78,000 square foot center filled with hardwood and turf. They have baseball rentals with batting cages, softball, soccer, lacrosse, gymnastics, cheerleading, cornhole, basketball, volleyball, and pickleball. It also features a bar and grill with the best pizza and beef sandwiches around. They cater to events such as birthdays, graduations, corporate parties, as well as memorabilia shows. Check them out at Megaplex Sports Complex, 15301 South Bell Road in Homer Glen, 708-966-4210.
Hi, this is Kathy O'Connell at Coach's Corner, located at 8118 West 143rd Street in Orland Park. Our phone number is 708-364-1026. We are Orland Park's #1 sports bar. Come in for our wonderful beer menu and seltzers with a fully stocked bar. Watch a game, drink a beer, and try something off our amazing menu. We have everything to choose from: nachos, potato skins, and our house-made bar chips to start off with. Then try our tacos, burgers, and one of our delicious sandwiches. And don't leave without trying our famous jumbo wings. They do not disappoint. Coach's Corner. It will sure to become your local bar. Again, we are located at 8118 West 143rd Street in Orland Park. Come see us today.
Had a great time at Coach's Corner just a couple weeks ago during the Sox and Cubs series. Wonderful place, Kathy and everybody there. Just great. And the wings are absolutely amazing. Couple of things I want to get to before we do a What's Up Fred's Can, which you'll be shocked by. Okay, I don't know if it's up my can as much as it's me being kinder and gentler. Holy crap! Pollyanna in St. Charles is releasing this Wednesday. They partnered with other breweries in St. Charles, and they're going to have a light amber lager. Riverlands is hosting their kickoff celebration for this light amber lager on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. It's going to be available at D&G Brewing, Alter in St. Charles, 93 Octane, my good friends out there, Mario Spina and company, and also the Broken Bricks Fermentation Emporium. Says this Wednesday. Head on out there. You can get the beer, the light amber lager at any of those places. Nick and Ivy making a canal water. They did for the old canal days this weekend. Also, the beer darts flying off the Mike's trying to absolutely empty all of the kegs of beer dart. He loves it. Miskatonic, their 7th anniversary. They got shows coming up Friday and Saturday. A lot of music in the area. Stop on by Miskatonic. Great beer and music this coming weekend. And Black Horizon on Saturday. Probably going to stop at Black Horizon and then head on out to Imperial Oak. But Black Horizon has a comic books and brews. And my brother-in-law, Mike, is a huge artist, a huge comic artist. He loves comics, has I don't know, 30,000, whatever he might have. But Saturday from 2 till 6 at Black Horizon, they have comic books and brews. We're going to head out there on Saturday, take a look at what's going on there. Should be a fun time on Saturday. Again, if you can get out to Imperial Oak in Willow Springs, that'll be fun. Let's really quickly, a What's Up Fred's Can. Haven't had one in a while. Let's go with that.
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
Ugly? You gotta be kidding me.
Time for What's Up Fred's Can on 1252 Sports Chicago.
Okay, besides White Sox baseball, what's up my can? Today I went shopping. Mondays I usually go shopping to get eggs and bread and, the staples is what they call it. Eggs and bread and something else, some other things you need to eat during the course of the week. I had a pre-made salad, had that for lunch today. Some yogurt once in a while, things like that. Trying to, if you're going to keep drinking beer, you got to have other ways to lose some weight or drop some pounds or at least stay average. Okay. So I go to Walmart, and I go to Walmart a lot. It's close. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm getting. And I'm pulling out of Walmart. I'm putting my groceries in my trunk, and there is an old lady. I'm 65. She's got to be maybe 75. With her husband, who's in the passenger seat, who's probably older. That's probably why she's driving. And as she's backing up, I realize she's coming really close to a cart that another guy from one of the beer delivery companies, he's got his car there, and she's coming really close to the cart. And I start yelling, cart, 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 cart! And she stops right after she hits the cart. There was nothing in the cart, maybe one other bag and stuff like that. So she put the car in forward and drive and drove forward. So the guy that was in the car, he looks at her and he gives her the finger. And I'm saying, hey, give her a break. She's old. She didn't see you. Give her a break. And that was so unlike me, because I'm usually would be the guy that would have given her the finger. But it's like, and the guy looked at me and like, okay, he got into his car and left. But maybe we all should be a little bit nicer. And anybody that knows me that's watching this right now is saying, who the hell are you? Where'd Fred go? What did you do with Fred? Yeah, I know. Maybe we should be a little bit nicer. It was an older lady. Yeah, I know. I knew, Mike. You jump on. When you saw the guy, when I saw this lady, she was like you could barely see over the wheel. She had a hard time seeing behind her. And she just hit his cart. It's not a big deal. So anyway, what's up my can? Let's try to be a little bit nicer, especially if the people are older. You know, maybe the guy didn't know they were an old couple. Maybe he would have not given her the finger if he knew they were an older couple. But I saw the whole thing happen, and I got in the car and I said, you know what? Maybe we should be nicer to people. She wasn't trying to hit your cart. She was trying to back out of a spot and get out of there.
Well, as we're sitting here talking about this, have you ever been behind somebody where it's like, would you go? Oh my God, go.
Well, here's my big.
It finally splits up the two lanes, and you realize they're like 195 years old, and you feel bad.
I have. But here's my biggest problem with driving, and this could be what's up my can, Mike. When I'm in a turn lane, when I'm in a left turn lane, and the guy in front of me doesn't pull out far enough for me to go when the light changes. Now, my sister told me that they've changed the rules of the road. They don't want you to pull out that far. Well, if that's true, then screw them. You got to make the damn light. Pull out. There's no reason for you not to pull out as far as you can so that the person behind you can go. I got caught again by that the other day. I was so pissed off. I just tapped the horn and just said, I flashed my brights and said, damn it.
99.9% of my life is driving in a car.
No, it's the worst.
It truly is. I'm constantly on the road with what I do for work.
Yeah, it's the worst.
And
it's absolutely.
I cannot stand traffic. I was hoping it sounds terrible. It really does. It sounds terrible. But I'm with Bill Burr on this one. All right. I was really truly hoping, fingers crossed, that this pandemic would lighten up traffic.
Yeah. Well, Bill Burr has a new comedy special now. The problem is it's not him for the full 2 hours.
It's not.
Or hour and a half. Yeah, but he's really good.
He's
the
amazing.
problem is most of the other people not so much.
Right.
But the best line in it is from the only black comedian on it. His name's Ian Edwards, I think. And he has a great line where he said, I've realized that real traffic bothers me more than human trafficking.
Right. Yes.
And that's one of the funniest lines I've ever heard in my life.
Yes.
My life.
People are terrible. I mean, the slightest bit of rain, the slightest bit of anything.
Yeah.
It just stops.
My buddy Larry came up with a really good one, and you would probably appreciate this. I may even have told you this one. He said, you know what? You watch those commercials when they're trying to raise money for dogs, and you see like a 2.5 minute commercial with, sad music, and these dogs are homeless, and if you could please send some money. Right. And it's like, oh my God, where's my wallet? How do I call? And then you see pictures of kids with no food, and you turn the channel. It's like, what else is on? What else is on?
The best part is when they send you a nickel in the mail.
Yeah.
Like, this nickel will feed 5 starving kids in Africa or 5 starving kids in India.
Now, why'd you send it to me?
Why'd you send it to me?
Yeah.
Send it to them.
I know. Oh, God. Okay, that's about enough. We've gone way too long. I've had you work longer. You got to get up early in the morning tomorrow, I'm sure. So appreciate Chet Brett for jumping on in. The White Sox just struggling. The Cubs got a big series with the Padres, big for the Padres, as they're trying to stay close in the NL West. And then the Cubs got the Braves later on this week. We'll see how things go. We'll be back again next Monday, hopefully talking about what happened over the weekend. Good baseball and maybe some good beer at the Comic Books and Brews from Black Horizon Brewing, and also with Chet Brett and out in Willow Springs, Imperial Oak, and have a great time. So until then, I did finish the 22 ounces, 11.5, and it was fine. It was fine. Again, maybe a beer expert would have told you, well, it's not perfect. It's 8 years old. It didn't have to be perfect. It was good for Huebs Views and Brews. Thanks a lot. Thanks to Mike. Don't forget he's on again later on this week. We got a lot of stuff coming up here on 1252 Sports Chicago. Don't go anywhere. Make sure you check us all out, not only here on Facebook, but also on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Spotify with the audio each and every week right here on 1252 Sports. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Thank you for listening to 1252 Sports Chicago.